Coming up, President Trump is expected to reach a long-awaited deal with TikTok.
And prices for Disney streaming services will see an increase.
And to look at what homecoming weekend has to offer.
All that, plus weather, entertainment, and sports coming up on PS News.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Molly Ryan.
And I'm Jordan Barosi. Thanks for joining us.
President Trump is expected to sign a new executive order opening the door for a long-awaited TikTok deal. The order would clear a path for the U.S. investors to buy about 80% of the app's American assets. Trump says he has already spoken with Chinese President Xi Jinping about the agreement, which still needs regulatory approval. Congress voted to ban the app later this year over national security concerns. Trump has put that ban on several times and is expected to extend the pause for another 120 days while the deal is finalized. The expected agreement also sets the stage for Trump and Xi's first in-person meeting since his return to office. The two are slated to meet next month at the APEC summit in South Korea.
And speaking of Trump, a controversial statue of former President Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein has been removed from National Mall. The piece, titled Best Friends Forever, depicted Trump holding hands with Epstein. It was installed earlier this week as an anonymous artist collective that received a temporary permit to display it through the weekend. But the National Park Service took it down Wednesday morning, saying the statue exceeded size restrictions and didn't comply with permit requirements. The artists say they never received a 24-hour required notice before removing and called the decision an attempt to silence criticism of Donald Trump's past ties to Epstein. The removal has sparked debate. Some criticized the display as inappropriate for the National Mall. Others called it the action's censorship. The park says permits for temporary displays are reviewed based on safety and dimensions, not political content.
In Texas, Camp Mystic is set to reopen next summer, nearly a year after the deadly flooding that swept through the area. 27 campers and counselors lost their lives when floodwaters tore through Texas Hill Country last July. Camp leaders announced Monday that rebuilding is underway, with cabins being moved away from floodplains and new safety protocols going into effect. The changes follow new state laws passed after the aftermath in the tragedy, aimed at making camp safer for children and staff. Camp officials also plan to rebuild a memorial honoring the victims. But that decision has sparked criticism from some parents who say they were not consulted before the announcement. Camp Mystic says the memorial will be part of its reopening next summer, but talks with families will continue in the coming months.
And Disney streaming customers get ready to pay more. The company announced it's raising prices across most Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Select plans in the U.S. The increases range from $1 to $3 a month, depending on the tier. The new pricing will take effect October 21st. This is the third time in just 3 years that Disney has hiked up streaming rates in the United States. The company says the moves are driven by rising content and technology costs, as well as intense competition in the streaming market. The price jump comes as Disney continues to invest in big-budget originals, including Marvel and Star Wars series, and live sports coverage on ESPN. Disney says its streaming bundles will remain an option, but those packages are also going up. If you want to see more of the full list of the changes, you can find them on the Disney website.
Today is National Pancake Day, and Cracker Barrel says it will be celebrated at all 660 locations nationwide. Customers can get all-you-can-eat pancakes for just $5. But that's not the only deal. Cracker Barrel is also playing into football season, calling itself the unofficial sponsor of the Pancake Block. Anyone who shows up in their favorite team's jersey or brings same-day game tickets will get a free side of pancakes with any entree purchase throughout October. The chain is hoping the promotion can bring more customers through the door. Earlier this year, Cracker Barrel reported an 8% drop in visitors, following a national uproar over the controversial logo change. Company leaders say they're confident the new campaign and a return to comfort favorite foods can help win back loyal diners.
And it's homecoming and alumni weekend at SUNY Plattsburgh, a chance for students, families, and Cardinal alumni to celebrate together with a full lineup of events. Things get started Friday with campus tours and the chance to take in the new view from the top of Kehoe. Alumni receptions and the Cardinal Athletic Hall of Fame dinner cap off the day, followed by s'mores by the fire pits and a bingo night. On Saturday, the festivities continue with the pancake breakfast, ice skating with Bergie, and family fun at the Fall Festival. Sports fans can catch women's soccer against Morrisonville and volleyball tri-match in Memorial Hall. The night wraps up with an Italian buffet, a dueling piano show, and bonfire along the riverside. And to close out the weekend, a fun run on Sunday morning and a farewell brunch at Clinton Dining Hall. For a full list of homecoming and family weekend events, you can visit alumni.plattsburgh.edu. Now, we'll be back with a look at your weather after this break. Stay tuned.
Meet the Plattsburgh State Cardinals Cheer Squad. Our cheer team is a motivated group of athletes striving for growth at every turn. Cheerleading is much more than just a performance. It's about working as a unit to lift each other up. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Our team is dedicated to building your skills in strength, confidence, and teamwork. So the real question is, are you ready to cheer? Let's go! Cardinals!
Guess who's back? Back again. I'm back. Let's look at your weather. Let's look at your weather here today. As we got Owl's Head at 65. We got Vermontville at 66. We got Dannemora at 68. Sable Forks, 74. As we hit the Plattsburgh to 72 degrees. It's very high in the 70s, mostly in the 60s the other side. St. Albans City was a perfect 71, and Williston with a 73. Now let's look at our 5-day forecast. All right, so we got a 5-day forecast here. We got some little rain, not too much. It didn't really hurt that much. It didn't melt me that much. 72 degrees, very warm out there, but just raining. As the weekend is beautiful out here, as we got Saturday at 68, as Sunday we got 76, both at the same clouds. As we head to Monday with a 74 degrees and sunny, the clouds are out and the sun is in. But the clouds are going to come back today on Tuesday, 65 degrees. Well, that's the latest of your check of your weather. Now let's turn it over for the desk for entertainment.
Good afternoon, Plattsburgh. Good afternoon, Plattsburgh. I'm Delonda. Let's take a look at what's happening in Hollywood. Jimmy Kimmel Live is back after nearly week-long suspension. Disney says it's objected to the host's comments after Charlie Kirk's murder. Kimmel addresses that in his return monologue while defending free speech. Disney says it lifted the suspension after, quote, thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. Critics claim Disney originally caved to President Donald Trump. Jimmy says Kimmel returns on ABC, quote, put the network in jeopardy. He adds, quote, we're going to test ABC out on this. Sinclair and Nexstar Media are continuing to preempt the show on their stations. Bill Nye has been honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The science educator received the star Monday in the television category, making him the 2,821st person to receive the recognition. Nye is best known for his hit 90s show Bill Nye the Science Guy, which inspired a generation of students to embrace science. In recent years, he's continued to promote science education and advocate for action on climate change. He also received the Presidential Medal of Freedom earlier this year. The ceremony has held at 6357 Hollywood Boulevard. Bill Nye says he hopes his stars remind people that science, quote, is cool. New Yorkers are about to hear a familiar voice on their commute. The MTA says Bronx-born rapper Cardi B has recorded a series of public service announcements for the subway. The new messages focus on rider etiquette and safety, with Cardi putting her own spin on the reminders. In a video posted to social media, she urges passengers to ride safe, keep it cute, and keep it moving. The agency says it's part of a campaign to cut down on the crowding and improve the rider experience. So far, no official date has been announced for when commuters will hear her on the trains and platforms. Cardi B joins a growing list of celebrities who've lent their voices to the subways, including Jerry Seinfeld, Kevin Hart, and Deborah Messing. That's the latest in the entertainment this week. We'll be right back with your sports update after this brief intermission.
Do you play an instrument? Want to jam with fellow musicians? Join the Plattsburgh State Jazz Ensemble. Whether you're into swing, Latin, or funk, the Jazz Ensemble is a fun way to sharpen your skills, meet new friends, and make great music. To sign up, enroll in MUS 394, either for credit or as an audit. Practices are every Tuesday night from 6 to 8 in Myers 300. Find your rhythm. Join the Jazz Ensemble.
What's going on, Plattsburgh? I'm Alex Duval. Now let's get right into this week's sports action. The Plattsburgh State men's soccer team lived up to its Cardiac Cards nickname Wednesday night, rallying behind to knock off RPI in dramatic fashion. The Engineers struck first in the 15th minute when Thomas Corcoran put in the home team in front 1-0. RPI kept the pressure on through the first half, outshooting the Cardinals 6-1 and taking that lead into halftime. But as they've done all season, Plattsburgh came alive after halftime. Junior Gabriel Morse-Kenny knocked in his second goal of the year just 7 minutes into the second half, tying the match at 1. Then in the 70th minute, sophomore Alex Gravera delivered the game winner, his first goal of the season, to give the Cardinals a 2-1 lead. Incredibly, Plattsburgh scored on both of their only shots on target all night. The Cardinals improved to 5-1-3 and now turn their attention back to SUNY play. They'll be on the road Saturday looking for their first conference win against Morrisville. Last night, the Seattle Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals met in a primetime divisional matchup, and this one went all the way down to the final seconds. Debuting their NFL rivalries uniforms, Arizona struck first, cashing in with a 32-yard field goal to take the early 3-0 lead. But Seattle quickly answered. Sam Darnold found rookie A.J. Barner in the end zone for a 16-yard strike, and later Zach Charbonnet punching it in from a yard out to extend the lead to 14-3. But Arizona struggled early, with Kyler Murray throwing 2 interceptions, but he rallied the Cards in the fourth quarter, throwing touchdowns to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Imari Demir-Cadeau to tie it at 20 with just 23 seconds left. A costly kickoff penalty brought the ball out to the 40-yard line for the Seahawks, and Darnold connected with JSN to set up Jason Myers, who drills the 52-yard game winner as time expired. Seattle survives 23-20, moving to 3-1 on the year and keeping hold of second place in the NFC West. Turning to the MLB now, the New York Yankees pulled off a big come-from-behind win last night, keeping their push at the top of the AL East alive. In the Bronx, the Yankees fell behind early when Michael A. Taylor launched a 2-run bomb in the fourth off Carlos Rodon to give the White Sox a 3-1 lead. But New York responded in a big way with the bases loaded. In the fifth, Giancarlo Stanton smashes a base-clearing double, which drives in 3 runs, and now giving the Yankees a 4-3 lead. Austin Wells now made it 5-3 with an RBI double to center field, extending their lead. Then in the ninth, with 2 outs, David Bednar shuts the door to secure his 26th save of the season. The Yankees take it 5-3 over Chicago, extending their winning streak to 4. They'll open the weekend series against Detroit tonight at home. Well, that's all the sports I have for you this week, Plattsburgh. Now let's get back to the desk.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to this week's edition of PS News.
We're your news anchors, Jordan Barosi
and Molly Ryan. Make sure to stay tuned for the next weekly news update as well as all of our upcoming shows.
You'll find all of those shows right here on our YouTube channel. Also, make sure to check out our Instagram at Plattsburgh State TV.
Have a great week, Plattsburgh.